All right, let's take a look at section 3.1, which is parallel lines and transversals. So this is going to be another vocab heavy section for us. So this first example here says, think of each segment in the diagram as part of a line. Use the words parallel, perpendicular, skew to fill in each blank. So what I'd like you to do is pause the video for about a minute and a half here and give this question a try on your own. And then once you've got answers for 1 through 4, jump right back in. All right, so taking a look at number 1, we've got line DE and line CF. All right, so DE goes through here and CF goes through here. So those are on different planes, all right, and they do not intersect. This is kind of like a fake intersection point because that CF is behind it in the 3D object. So we are looking at 2 skew lines in this one. All right, in the next one, we have AD, BE, and CF. So AD, BE, and CF. All right, any 2 of those are parallel to each other, right, because they run straight along and they're never going to intersect and they're in the same plane. All right, so those are parallel. All right, and then 3, we have plane ABC and plane DEF. All right, so plane ABC and DEF, so the left side and the right side. All right, so this is like the top and bottom, in a sense, of the triangular prism, and those are going to be parallel. All right, so we have parallel planes with those 2 end caps, and then we have DE and AD. So DE and AD, that's right here where the right angle marker is, so those 2 are perpendicular. All right, and we can use our abbreviation for that if we want to. All right, so if I run through, that takes us through 4. Now, with that, that really hits on a couple definitions that we're going to need to kind of clear up here. And the first one is parallel lines. So there's a couple key characteristics with parallel lines. First, they're coplanar. All right. Second, they never intersect. All right, so they lie in the same plane and they never touch. If you meet those 2 criteria, you are a parallel line. And it's necessary and sufficient. So those are all the conditions we need for parallel lines, and it's all the conditions we need to be able to kind of roll back and say, oh, yep, you're definitely talking about parallel lines. Skew lines are not coplanar, and they do not intersect. All right, so 2 lines that are not in the same plane and never intersect are considered to be skew. All right, and then the last one is parallel planes. This is just 2 planes, and really we could say 2 or more planes that never intersect. All right, because if 2 or more planes never intersect, they have to be parallel to each other. Prime example in the room you're in most likely right now would be the ceiling and the floor, and that would be 2 parallel planes. So we look at this next one. It says, think of each segment in the diagram as part of the line. There may be more than one right answer. So what I want you to do is just pause the video here for a minute or so and give this one a shot. When you're done, jump back in. Okay, so looking at number 5, it's name a line perpendicular to HD. So HD, we have the line here. So perpendicular, we would have HG. You could likely also argue that HE would be perpendicular as well, but the one that's clearly marked for us is HG. So looking at 6, it says name a plane that appears parallel to plane ABC. So ABC is the top of this object, so I would go to the bottom of this object and pick 3 letters. So I'm going to pick EFG. I could also replace any one of those 3 with an H. All right, so we have plane EFG. All right, in 7 it says name a line that appears parallel to BC. So BC is over here across the top. Appears like the bottom edge of that side would also be, so GF. All right, and last but not least, name a line that appears skew to FG. So FG is across the bottom there. I'll get that nice and highlighted for us. All right, and we want skew. So it needs to be non-coplanar, all right, and not run into it. So one prime one I could definitely do is CD, because again, what looks like an intersection point there really isn't, because one is below the other. So we're going to say CD. All right, now there are other proper answers to this one, so this is just one set of the correct answers. All right, taking a look at the next thing, we're going to have to define a new term, which is a transversal. So a transversal is basically a line, right, that intersects two other lines at different points. All right. If they all share the same point, we don't really consider it a transversal because they all intersect at the same point. So this would be two lines. They can be parallel, non-parallel, doesn't matter, but the transversal crosses each of the lines. So in the picture down here, all right, we have the line T is the transversal of the other two lines, M and N. All right, so line T is a transversal of M and N. Now, with these, all right, we're basically going to define some angle pairs. And the angle pairs are going to go from the intersection point up here to the intersection point down here. And what I want you to think of is I kind of want you to think about going around these clockwise from upper left. All right, so just like this top one's numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4 going around. All right, that's the way I want you to think of the angle being oriented at one of the intersection points. Because what we're going to have is we're going to have a corresponding series of angles at the other intersection point that we're going to count in the same way. So we're going to start in the upper left and we're going to work our way around clockwise. So angle 1, all right, is in the same relative location as angle 5. So angle 1 and 5 would be corresponding. All right, 2 is in the same relative position as 6. So those would be corresponding as well. All right, then we've got 3 and 8 are in the same, and 4 and 7 are in the same. Now, the next group of problems basically just keeps going, but from the other angle's perspective. So it's really just the same four number pairs. Angle 5 and angle 1 are related. Angle 6 and angle 2 are related. Angle 7 and angle 4 are related. And angle 8 and angle 3 are related. All right, so we can go ahead and just write out the rest of the corresponding angles. Now, we're going to have to be able to look at a picture like this and identify corresponding angles by name, all right, as well. Now, there's other classifications we're going to look at, and they basically break down into two big categories, which is alternate or consecutive. All right, alternate basically means opposite sides of transversal, all right, and consecutive means same side of transversal. All right, so opposite side of transversal for alternate, and then same side of the transversal for consecutive. All right, then the other classification is interior, exterior. Interior is between the two lines, and then exterior is on the outside, all right, of the two lines. So we're basically either going to be like an alternate interior, so opposite sides of the transversal, inside between the two lines. So that would be like a 3 and a 5, because they're opposite sides of the transversal and inside, so angle 3 and angle 5. Or we could say angle 4 and angle 6, because they're on opposite sides of the transversal on the interior. Now, we can do the same thing on the exterior. All right, on the exterior, we're going to have 1 up here. All right, and it needs to be opposite side, but on the exterior, so that's going to go with 8. So angle 1 and angle 8, and then angle 2 and angle 7, all right, are alternate exterior. So opposite sides, but on the exterior. Now, consecutive on the interior, again, we're between the two lines. So if I highlight that, here we're in the yellow on the inside, and it's consecutive, so we're on the same side. So angle 3, the same side as angle 6. And angle 4, the same side is angle 5. All right, and then last but not least is consecutive exterior. So same side but outside of the yellow region, so like 1 and 7. All right, because 1 and 7 are both on the same side of the transversal and both exterior. All right, and then angle 2 and angle 8. So again, we're going to have to look at pictures and be able to identify those. So if I look at this example here, it says classify the relationship between each pair of alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding or consecutive interior angles. So we're saying which one does this fall into, which classification. All right, so take a second and try those. Give a pause to the video and go through 9 through 14, and then when you come back, we'll take a look at them. All right, so back at this, we're looking at 2 and 8. So 2 and 8 goes between this intersection point and this intersection point. And we've got a 2 and an 8. So those are on alternate sides of the transversal, and they're exterior. They're on the outside of the two lines. So we're looking at alternate exterior. And we'll shorthand that with alt-ext and then like a little angle symbol. All right, that's how we often write it. Now I'm going to keep cleaning up the picture for this one. So angle 3 and angle 6. Angle 3 is on this intersection point. Angle 6 is on this one. All right, so 3 and 6 are on the interior. So we have interior. All right, and they are on the same side, so we're going to say consecutive. So consecutive interior angles. All right, so we'll clear the picture up again, and now we're at 1 and 9. So 1's in that intersection point, 9's down here. All right, and 1 and 9 are in the same relative position, so these are corresponding angles. All right, 3 and 9, we're still going from the top intersection to the bottom. So we're 3 to 9. All right, they're both on the interior of the two lines and opposite sides, so we're at an alternate interior angles. All right, jump to the next one. We've got 6 and 12, so 6 is on the second intersection, 12's on the last. All right, they're on the outside of the two lines, so we know it's exterior. And 6 and 12 are on opposite sides, so we know we're alternate. So alternate exterior angles. All right, and then 7 and 11. 7 and 11, same intersection points. They're both in the bottom right, so those are corresponding angles again. All right, so that takes you through just kind of a quick set of identify what angle relationships in play. All right, so that takes us through the notes for today. Again, it's mostly a vocab day. We're going to come back, and over the next few sections, we're going to learn a lot of properties that are associated with those classifications. And we'll see that corresponding angles are congruent, alternate interior angles are congruent, consecutive interior supplemental, and we'll build a whole lot of relationships, and we'll also prove that those relationships have to be 100% true. All right, so I hope that helps. That should make the homework pretty easy to get through tonight. Make sure you have that done. I will be checking it tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Have a great day.